Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. If you tuned in to find some sort of bodily fluid show, this is not it. We're going to do fluids, but a fluid. This is mostly done as a public service in the hopes that one certain student will take to learning a little bit better about chemistry as he doesn't want to go to summer school if they still have that. Okay, so I'm CW. I'm here at the books. I forgot the name of my channel for a second. Books, Travels, Histories, and Tales. This is the dungeon. This is where I get most of my books. Whoever left the books on my truck, thanks a lot. That was what I was looking for. Okay, for the rest of y'all, if you lose interest, it's okay, but I got something at the end. They say always to keep them guessing. I will tell you where the saltiest water in the world is. No, it's not that. We'll come back to it. So the weirdest substance in existence is probably water. H2O, two hydrogen, one oxygen, commonly known to scientists, which is a word coined by a woman named Somerville, um, hydrogen oxide. It's kind of weird because when you usually put two gases together, you end up with a gas. Not this time. Generally speaking, you end up with a liquid. But, water is strange. It could be other things. It can be a liquid, it can be a water vapor. Look out your window. Clouds, water vapor, rain, icebergs. Trust me, in Florida, we're not seeing those yet, but we are seeing snow, which is kind of weird. But yeah, icebergs. So ice, everything. You got to remember that people, they'll tell you that the world is made up of, 70% water. That's not true. It is covered by 70% of water, the Earth's surface. And even then, you kind of wonder, why do we call it Earth? Why don't we call it something else? But I digress. Another important thing to remember about how important water is, it's in you. And I'm not talking about too much coffee. I'm talking it makes up like 70% of your brain, which sometimes you're not using, Todd. But let's move on. Well, duh. So hydrogen is, God, it's everywhere. It's one of the most plentiful elements around. When H2O cools below 4 degrees Celsius or NR 40 Fahrenheit for y'all in the States, it does something nothing else ever does. It expands and becomes lighter in weight. Yeah, let that set in. How does that happen? Well, I don't know. I mean, it just happens. That's why ice, like hope, floats. H2O is strongly bonded. Uh, Almost always you're going to see it. One molecule would be bonded with three other molecules. They're very strong. It takes 10 times more energy to get water to boil than it does to heat an element like iron. So that's kind of what you see with our oceans. They can take a lot of heat or absorb it and yet stay cool. In turn, they cool us or keep us cool. A lot of people say, well, water has no color, and that's not quite true. Water has a faint hint of blue, which is kind of interesting. That's results of red light absorption by the nuclei inside of the water. It causes the vibrations to speed up and causes a faint blue. Everybody used to say, it's the reflection of the sky. Not so. The oceans are different. You can, I mean, it's water. You can put your hand in it, nothing happens. The oceans let light pass through it, almost to the very bottom. Yet, if you jump off a diving board incorrectly and do a belly flop, it's like you hit a wall. Thanks. Water is also known as a universal solvent. It can dissolve or erode almost anything. Yeah. It can rust. It can carve a Grand Canyon. Just needs some time, but it can do it. Water's just not on the Earth. It's, you know, ice has been found on the moon, and ice has been found on Mars. Even our own sun, there's been water detected in the coolest spots of the sun. I don't think we should consider sinking a well or anything there. There's said to be a lot of water beneath the surface of the tectonic plates, approximately enough water to fill the oceans 30 times. However, we can't reach that water and probably won't be able to reach it for centuries. You should note that H2O generally freezes at 0 or 32 degrees. But if it's pure water, or seawater, pure water is a clean water. I mean, absolute clean. You gotta have a little dirt in it if you want it to freeze right away. It usually has to won't freeze until you get down to about 42 minus Celsius, or minus 42 degrees Celsius. Freeze your water too fast, you end up with glassy water. I really wouldn't worry about it. It looks like glass. It looks like a pane of glass. That's probably never going to happen in your Westinghouse freezer. It could happen in the Westinghouse lab or somewhere in the space, like a comet. Yes, Todd, that's right. Comets are made up of ice. The suns and stars are thousands of light years away from each other, and the darkness is made up of mostly space that is cold. And wouldn't you know it, my mother was right. Probably your mother too. Hot water freezes faster than cold water. Plato's student, Aristotle, he knew this back in the 4th century BC. Modern science did not accept it until 1963, mostly because of a Tanzanian schoolboy who experimented with his ice cream or something like that. It's an interesting story. Might make a good tale one day. Yeah. And the funniest water word would come from the Native American of the same name, yazoo. Not just a riding lawnmower. It's a stream or a brook that runs beside a major river or larger river and ends up joining it somewhere down the line. So that was for you, Todd. I don't think it was a surprise to anybody who I was talking to. Now, where is the world's saltiest water? Not the Dead Sea. Good guess, but not really. I mean, not there. The place I'm thinking of, let me draw you a map. Okay, so from my location in sunny Florida, but snowy, I'd have to go west, down Texas, through Mexico, over the Panama Canal, down to the Terra del Fuego of South America. Hop a ship, go to the northwest of Antarctica, to the dry valleys to find this. Well, I used to call it a lake, pond. It's more of a pool. It's called the Don Juan Pool or Pond. Don Juan. It's 40% salt water. Did I just crack my voice? Oh, 40% salt water. Doesn't freeze, regardless of being surrounded by minus 50 degrees Celsius. Minus 50 degrees Celsius. And it still doesn't freeze. By the way, it was named after two U.S. Navy pilots. One was named Donald Roe, R-O-E, and John Hickey. Yep, hence Don Juan. No, go ahead, look it up. I'll wait for you. I hope you enjoy that. Usually it's like that, but we do history here too, and we get a lot of comments. I want to see your comment. I want to see your ideas if you have some. It's gonna have a hard time topping the Don Juan pond, okay? But love to hear from you. So I'll see you next time.